I'll admit I can be somewhat of a gun snob at times, and gun elitists, such as myself, often use the catchphrase just as good to shit on people who buy budget guns that we look down upon. Fortunately, we hired Hop to retain that part of the audience that's buying Tauruses and watching YouTube from the public library. As much as I give everyone a hard time for buying Anderson Arms or Palmetto State Armory or whatever, I think about 20 to 30% of you are smart enough to know that I'm just being a dick and good fun, and as long as you're watching the channel and you're into guns, you're my friend, even if you own a Springfield XD. But the just as good gang really isn't to blame all the time for disbelieving the time-proven adage that if you pay bananas, you get monkeys. The gun industry does have manufacturers that are just charging for a logo and not giving you anything much better than what you could get for a severely reduced price. Great example. You guys remember Geisley? They sold like $9 USGI AR-15 magazines with a Geisley logo, that weird stupid G on it, for $30. They got busted when Instagrammers recognized the cage code from like D&H or OK Industries, a USGI manufacturer that charged literally $9 for their magazines. Geisley was taking them, swapping a base plate on there that had a G on it, charging $30, and they got busted. So it's understandable when you see these people out there who are like, you can get this thing, it's just as good as that thing, but it costs a lot less, because sometimes it is true. And I think you guys know, I read the comments, I listen to you, so with that in mind, I've got to say the most requested video probably in TFBTV history has been for me to review the Turknelli. That is a somewhat disparaging term for the number of Benelli M4 shotgun clones from Turkey that have been pouring into the country as of late. The Oxa A4, the Taurus T4, the Charles Daly 601 DPS, the Panzer Arms, the Coppola, the gun that I bought, the SDS TAC 12. Like most Turkish shotguns, there's a good chance these are all made in the same place as like a protective marketing strategy, like having watertight compartments in the hull of a sinking ship. Like when someone finds out that the ABC Turkish shotgun sucks, they'll think that the XYZ Turkish shotgun is still okay, even though they're the same gun, they're just called something different and they're imported by a different company. I think that that's kind of a way where these Turkish shotguns can still find a market even after you find out that one version of it sucks. Does that make sense? One thing that's appealing about the Turknellis, many of them have near complete or possibly complete parts interchangeability, or at least the ability to accept accessories with the real deal Benelli M4. I'm not sure that that's much of a plus, because us Benelli M4 owners know that the accessories in and of themselves cost an arm and a leg, and they're damn near impossible to find anyways. If you bought a Turkish shotgun and you're kitting out with real Benelli parts, it ain't going to take you very long to get to real Benelli M4 prices, or at least the Beretta 1301. And look at the TAC 12 next to my M4. My God, they look like the same gun, don't they? Is this the deal of the century, or is it too good to be true? Let's find out, boys. Before I get into my review, let me tell you about my personal biases here. First of all, very tight with Beretta. They're a company I highly respect. Beretta owns Benelli. I have a Benelli M4. I love the Benelli M4, one of my favorite shotguns. At the same time, I also pretty much despise Turkish shotguns. I've been disappointed by everyone I've ever handled. You guys know I do the 500 round burn down on this channel, and not once has a Turkish shotgun survived 500 rounds. It either breaks or becomes so unreliable that continuing the test is a complete waste of time. I'm not too optimistic about the Turknelli, but there are good Turkish manufacturers out there. So, I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that some Turkish factory in Istanbul or something is able to crank out a decent clone of the M4 now that the patent's expired on it. I'm biased towards the M4. I'm biased against Turkish shotguns, but like you, I want to believe that I can get something that's 80 or 90% as good as the original for 20% of the price. So I go to Gretna Gunworks, I pick up the SDS Imports TAC 12 for $400. Initially, I feel like the build quality wasn't nearly up to the M4 standard, but it certainly felt like a cut above the average Turkish shotgun. Again, from about 4 feet away, It's actually kind of hard to tell the difference. Both of them are almost 8 pounds on the nose. They look very similar, although my M4's got a few accessories on it. The TAC-12 furniture does feel kind of crappy. It's like a rubbery pistol grip and buttstock, kind of flexible. Other than that, it certainly looks like an M4, and it seems like it's reasonably well made. Sure, it's a bit rougher around the edges compared to the Benelli, but furniture aside, I was actually pretty reassured after handling it the first time that this was finally the Turkish shotgun to survive the TFBTV torture test. One thing that did kind of annoy me about this gun is this permanently attached sling loop on the buttstock. It's some weird width I've never seen before, like a 1/2 inch or something. That means I had to use one of the blue Force-Gear wire loop adapters to run a Vickers sling. Other than that, I just threw some 3M industrial loop on the side of the receiver so I could use my S-TAC shotgun cards with the Velcro backing, and it was time to take the TAC-12 for a ride to Burn Down Town. The first Turkish shotgun to pass the 500 round TFBTV burn down. Or was it? Compared to how I normally run these tests with just like a cornucopia of all kinds of ammo, old and new, this was kind of a missionary position review. I had a good equal number of different loadings, all new, from 4 different manufacturers. We brought everything from weaker competition rounds to larger, really hot steel birdshot, 2 varieties of buckshot, and of course, a couple boxes of slugs. So we started out with sterling buckshot. After all, we wanted to make sure that the S4 got plenty of cuisine from its country of origin. This is some pretty hot Turkish-made buckshot, and it ran pretty well, although we did have 2 failures to feed in the first couple of boxes.
God, this is going to be a long day. Up. All right, so we just had just a little hang up. That's it. Up. Here we go again. So that's second time that's happened. Where, I mean, let's check the round. Let's see whose fault it is. Yeah, see, no primer strike. That's really weird. So we're only like a couple of boxes in, and we've already had 2 failures for the firing pin to slam home. Didn't fail that time. Got another. I mean, it's running. At this point, like, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, that is like 3 or 4 failures already, and we're probably not even 100 rounds in. You know, could be just breaking in. Could be that it sucks. Let's keep going. I'm out of ammo.
Stuffing shells in the tube was also a bit of a pain in the ass. Felt like I had arthritis. It was seriously giving me hand cramps. Getting the rim past the shell stop was a bit of a bitch at first, but this did clear up after a few hundred rounds. If you believe in break-in periods, a couple of failures to feed in the first few boxes is nothing to get too worked up about, especially when we were using cheap Turkish ammo. So we move on to my absolute favorite training load, Federal Ballistic Clean Buckshot. This is about as high quality as it gets.
Huge thanks to Federal. You guys know that I'm a big proponent of clean ammo, using stuff that's like lead-free, not toxic. I really like this stuff from Federal. This is Ballistic Clean training ammo. So this is training buckshot, lead-free shot, so it's a lot cleaner than the crap you're normally shooting or that we're normally shooting.
Ballistic Clean's a little bit lighter than the Turkish double-aught buck that we used, but it's definitely got plenty of thump. The first box actually ran perfectly. But the second box and the third box, yeah, we had 2 failures to feed and 3 failures to extract there, including a pretty nasty stovepipe.
What happened?
Failure to feed. Yeah, failure to feed again. Oh.
What happened now?
That one didn't even.
Uh-oh.
So.
Did it not eject or did it not feed? Yep.
Yeah, failure to eject.
God damn.
This shouldn't be happening with premium buckshot, especially after we'd run at least 100 rounds through it already. I would hope it had been broken in at that point, but that's 8 failures so far, and we hadn't even hit 200 rounds. Even with buckshot, extraction was super weak, perhaps from the system being a tad undergassed, I guess. This typically helps reduce recoil, but it also reduces reliability. You can see that even buckshot doesn't have enough power to reliably cycle the bolt hard enough to get that spent hole out, much less a new shell in. Boys, this was just the beginning.
Failure to extract.
So I decided to start pushing slugs through it to see if that would break the gun or if it would maybe generate enough power to cycle it, actually.
Shoot some slugs. I'm just gonna pop these things into the dirt. Oh, had a failure to feed.
The first slug that we ran led to a failure to feed, shock. And the rest of them just kind of dribbled out, as you can see here. These are really powerful rounds, so it was kind of weird. We had this weak extraction and ejection. We had 2 more failures in just a few sleeves of slugs. So we tried doing what we thought would help the gun run, and that didn't work. So maybe we thought, let's try doing the opposite of what would work instead. So we got out the Agala competition rounds. These are softer rounds made for like a day in the trap house, and I ain't talking about 2 chains. This is lighter recoiling ammo for, say, shooting sporting clays hours on end. You won't believe what happened next.
Now we're running Agala 7.5 competition. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Failure to feed. Yep. I fucking knew it. So, this shit's not even coming close to having enough recoil to feed. This is gonna be a... Yep. Wow.
Okay, yeah, so maybe you will believe it. It was exactly probably what you expected. But you can tell the Turknelli is falling apart quickly, so I'm sorry for lying to you, but it's hard to keep this review exciting. Okay, all right, see, maybe that was a little bit exciting. Yeah, I lost my cool a little bit there because these competition rounds, exactly as you would imagine, barely saw daylight after you had pulled the trigger. I mean, that bolt carrier would barely move back a couple of inches. Just give it a big old Turkish f it and just go back home. Next, we tried bioammo. I love this stuff because it's more environmentally friendly than like the regular lead and plastic shit that we used. We used a number 3 shot, it's a pretty big bird, moving at over 1,300 feet per second. So this is kind of zesty stuff.
Nope. Ooh.
Oh no, you got your glove caught in there. Dude. Nope, almost.
We're getting there.
Did that one work?
Nope.
Dude, look at your hobo gloves, by the way. You should be. This is TFBTV. This isn't
Hey.
Hickok 45. Come on, get some.
These are first spear.
You look legitimately like a hobo. Like you're about to ask me if you can Windex my car window.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, you guessed it again. It was a rare event where we'd get the TAC-12 to cycle 2 or 3 rounds in a row, so we doused it in the only lube that we had lying around, WD-40. We're going to go ahead and give the Turknelli, all we have out here is this crusty ass can of WD-40. We're going to give it a nice little coat-a-roo, and maybe that'll help us out. Just get it all in there. I mean, I don't even want to shoot this thing. It's soaking wet now with WD-40. That sprayed a little WD-40 on it. And let's see what happens. What do you think, Ryan? Am I going to be able to run a full tube this time? I think I will. Maybe you just needed a little Dub-D. Almost. Almost. You see, that helped. Not that time. And we tried again. It ran slightly better. We're Gucci. Like, we'll keep going. We'll push it to...
You can't script this stuff. I mean, you can't make this shit up. You can't. I mean, so what do you think, Ryan? Are we gonna make it through this too? What am I doing with my life? I should be. This is Thursday. I should be at my desk working my job as a lawyer, and here I am, horse cocking around with some piece of shit. Okay. Almost. Little failure there. Yep. Never mind.
So we added even more WD-40, and I got out another box of the Federal buckshot, probably the most reliable stuff we were using. This is top-of-the-line ammo that any semi-auto should be able to cycle flawlessly.
Soaking wet, broken in, soaking and broken. Boom! God, that felt good. That was the first time we've run through a full tube this entire day, I want to say. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh my, the twists and Turkish turns this review is taking. It ran this first box of 25 rounds without a single issue. Now we know that soaking the bolt carrier group in hot, greasy lube helped it out quite a bit. So let's revisit now the BioAmmo number 3 shot. Let's run it through this soaking wet gun. I mean, it just ran the buckshot. We lubed it up a little bit more. It'll run some gassed up bird, right?
We're gonna try this one last time. We've got another box of BioAmmo. Well, run all 3. Run. Stovepipe City. God.
And it seemed like the Turknelli was coming around. It was getting better, but then it got worse quickly. Maybe the gun getting dirtier, or maybe shedding off some of the WD-40 brought the Turknelli from somewhat dependable to my child support check levels of reliability.
Why, Turkey? Why? Why do you keep doing this?
But after only 265 rounds, we called this review quits.
So that was 265 rounds that we ran back to back to back. And as you can see, mixed success. But if I had to run the numbers back, I would say that it failed 25 to 33% of the time. A fourth to a third of the time, totally unacceptable. In my opinion, not worth wasting your money on. And again, I know how inconsistent these shotguns can be. You might have one at home that runs flawlessly, and I believe that. I 100% believe that. This one I bought off the rack at Gretna Gun, and just like any other asshole, so I could have been, could have been somebody else ruining a day at the range instead of me, and I could have gotten a good one in an alternate universe, but I'm stuck with this piece of shit. I hope many of you out there don't make the same mistake.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. I am done with this shit. It was a bolt action shotgun, sure. It ran buckshot and slugs with some degree of success, but even then it only made it through like a box without a failure once or twice. I'm not saying that semi-autos should have to run ultralight competition rounds or even regular birdshot, but if they can't run big bird like spicy 1,300 feet per second BioAmmo, it better run buck and slugs fucking flawlessly, and this shotgun couldn't even do that. I get home from the range and I start doing some research on the internet to see if I was the only one experiencing this, and it turns out I'm not. There were plenty of posts on the Guns subreddit describing similar issues. I actually found a couple of videos on YouTube when I looked it up where people had the same problems with their Turknellis that I did. More concerning, I also found a number of posts describing bolt carrier deformation caused by improper heat treating of the bolt carriers. I'll slip a couple of links to those videos in the description if you want to check them out. So what did we learn here today? Well, I guess technically nothing. I mean, we already knew it already. If you go bareback at the gun store, you might catch a case of the Turkish. It's tempting because these shotguns look like the genuine Benelli M4. They're even parts interchangeable. They got that fake Oakley vibe, right? Like I can look like I've got real Oakleys, but I actually bought these from a hobo in front of the George Washington Monument. Sounds appealing, feel like you get the same thing, look just as cool at the range. Maybe it works just as well. Turns out it doesn't. Now, there is a valid criticism of this video that I'm going off of a sample size of 1 among a number of alleged, and I emphasize alleged, manufacturers. My boy Daniel, aka From the Gun Counter on Instagram, he actually has one of the Four Peaks Imports models. He did a review for the Firearm blog. He has about a half case of trouble-free rounds through his. Now, did Daniel get a good one, or are my boys at Four Peaks Imports importing one of the versions that doesn't suck? I don't know. But even though I only dealt with one specific copy of one specific model from one specific importer, there's still plenty of anecdotal evidence from other shotguns that are similar Turknellis backing up my experience, which leads me to my no confidence vote. Another Turkish shotgun, another failure on the TFBTV torture test. Gang, these videos are really expensive to make. We appreciate the fact that we have like almost 3,000 supporters on Patreon, Utreon, Subscribestar as a way of saying thank you. If you're on Utreon or Subscribestar at the $5 level or higher, you are automatically entered every month to win one of 4 free guns from Top Gun Supply. And all of our supporters from Utreon and Subscribestar are automatically entered to win one of 4 $100 gift certificates from Blue Alpha. But thank you guys, as usual, for watching, and take care.